everyone, so as I film this video, it's been about 2 weeks since the Kickstarter campaign for my book Milk and Cookies finished, and it was successful. It was so exciting, and it's been a real roller coaster of an experience, and I've learned a lot. And I really want to share with you everything that I learned, all the hints and tips and things. And I've already made one video where I talked about why you might want to use Kickstarter for your creative project. I will link that below if you haven't seen it. But I thought today I would sit down and talk about, if you were running a Kickstarter campaign, what are the things that you need to do before the campaign starts? So I've got 6 things for you that I'm going to run through that you will need to think about, research, have planned out, and you need to do before the Kickstarter campaign begins. So the first thing that you need to do, and this is right at the start of your planning, is to set a goal for your Kickstarter campaign. So in order to do that, you're going to need to cost out every aspect of your project. So for me, producing a book, I needed to know what the illustrations cost, the ISBNs, printing, editing, marketing, all the different aspects of that, and get quotes for everything so that you know exactly how much money you need to move forward with this project. But you also need to think about fulfilling rewards. So whatever you're offering as rewards, how much is that going to cost to produce? So for me, I was offering some physical books. I was also offering bookmarks and stickers, so I had to have all that figured out along with shipping. And it's really easy to forget the shipping aspect of it. So I got books and I weighed them, and then I went onto the Royal Mail website and I put through lots of different examples of different combinations of books and sending them to other countries, and figured out how much the shipping was going to cost, whether I was going to include that in my rewards, or whether I was going to charge it. I included it for the UK but not elsewhere. And although obviously early on you don't know the answers to all of those questions, having an idea of the ballpark for what your rewards are going to cost, that's also important to factor in. Don't forget as well that there's another 10% from the fees from Kickstarter, so that needs to be added into the whole thing as well. Once you've gone through all of that, you should then have an idea of what goal you need to set. Now, it can be tempting to maybe set a lower number because it feels more achievable, because Kickstarter is all or nothing, and so it can be very scary to ask for a large amount of money and think, oh, I might not get there. But of course, if that amount of money is not enough for you to do the project, then that will mean that the people who've backed it won't receive their rewards because you can't afford to produce them. And it means that you can't do the project. So therefore the Kickstarter doesn't have a purpose. So you need to ask for an amount of money that you need in order to do the project, but of course also that it feels achievable. The second thing that you need to do is to build some kind of prototype, figure out how that's going to happen. So for me, I actually did all of this digitally. Some people will want to produce a physical prototype and take photographs of it. For me, I needed to have the illustrations pretty much finished so that I could produce example interior pages and also an example front cover. There are a lot of websites which allow you to create mock-ups of what a book looks like. And so that's what I did, but with other products that might not be so easy. And actually, even with a book, you could get an example book printed, or you could print off the cover design and wrap it around a book that you have. So there are ways of creating mock-ups, but it depends what your project is. But you will need to have some kind of example of what it is that you have done or are planning to do, and what it is that people are backing. So there has to be some kind of example prototype and you need to have planned out how you're going to have that. So the third thing then is to build your audience. Have a look at your social media and see if you are following accounts that have a similar kind of theme to whatever it is you're producing. So with books, I'd be looking at writers, and because mine was about breastfeeding, I'm looking at breastfeeding and doulas and lactation consultants and all those sorts of accounts. Follow lots of them, interact with them, get involved, comment on what they're doing, and try and actively build up your account through active engagement with other people. On Facebook, you want to look for groups that might be useful for for posting your Kickstarter. Some groups don't allow business posts, so be aware, and some restrict business posts to certain days. So you might want a spreadsheet of what the rules are for different groups, but start looking for them. So you're not trying to join them all, and some take a long time to join. They don't approve your membership for a long time. So start doing that now. Join the parenting groups or whatever it is that you want to join, where you feel you may be able to share your Kickstarter and reach backers, because you need to have an audience outside of just your friends and family and your sort of dedicated core group of people. You need to be reaching out to people you've never met, you don't know. So as well, you do want to let your friends and family know what you're doing, and as the Kickstarter grows closer, you should be messaging everybody to let them know, to send them the pre-launch page, and make sure that everybody knows about this, so that if somebody is interested in backing your campaign, whether that's from your own social circle or from creators and groups and all of that you have interacted with during this planning phase, make sure that word is out there so that you've got people sharing, commenting, and hopefully you've got people backing. So you need to start building that now. The fourth thing is to start researching and building your page. Some of these things overlap, obviously. So you want to have a look at what lots of other people have done on their Kickstarter pages. Do not copy them. It is plagiarism. But have a look and get some ideas for what worked on successful campaigns. What do those successful campaigns have in common? What do you like? Is there a certain kind of video style that you like? How about the layout of the page? Did you like the kind of rewards that they set? How about the way that they interacted with their audience? Have a look at all of the details on lots and lots of different pages. I must have looked at about 50. And look at the ones that weren't successful. And what do you think may have made it less successful? Are there things you can pick out that you think, oh, well, maybe I would do it like this actually? So try and put together lots and lots of research from looking at other people's pages. I reiterate, do not copy them. Then start to build those into your own page. Now, I actually started creating mine, considering my campaign started at the end of April. I started building the page in November, but it started off as putting information in there and tweaking things and starting to think about the layout, moving things around and trying stuff and getting used to how the site works and figuring it out. And there's no harm in that. You can do that if you want to. For me, I just needed a lot of time to get it right and to try lots of different things, decide what I was going to end up with as the finished thing. So yeah, if that works for you, you might want to start building your page ages in advance. And it basically means that as you come across these ideas, you can go to your page and implement them and slowly start to build this page with all the ideas instead of trying to remember everything. So I would say, do your research and also slowly start to create your final page, because it needs to be good, because that's where everyone is going to be being directed during your campaign. The fifth thing then is to produce a timeline. You need to know what needs to happen and by when. And whether you produce that as a list or a spreadsheet or a Gantt chart, whether you have something on the wall or it's on your laptop or it's in a planner, you need to know what tasks have to be completed. So for me, I needed to know what needed to happen all the way up to the illustrations being produced, and then halfway through the illustrations being produced, I would then have some of those. So I needed to speak to my illustrator and make sure that I had some of those images, so I could then produce the prototypes, so then I could get the Kickstarter begun. I needed to know that I was going to do a cover reveal and when I was going to do that. And then when the campaign started, I needed to know what I was doing and when I was doing it, week by week or day by day, to be honest. And then as the campaign finishes, what you're then moving on to do so that the project can move forward, the backers can receive their rewards. Everything needs to be all planned out. If you try and just take it as it goes, you're going to find that you get really, really swamped, because it's very full on. There's a lot of work involved in running a Kickstarter campaign, and so the more planned you are and the more you can go back to your notes and think, okay, today I'm meant to be doing that, and this is where I should be at, and this is the information I need. It just helps you to be calmer and more organised, and everything to just run much more smoothly and more likely for the campaign to be successful. And finally, you need a marketing strategy. Marketing is absolutely central to your Kickstarter campaign, because it's how you're going to get lots of people to find out about it, to come to your page and be motivated to back your campaign. So you need to think about all the different ways that you can market it, and you need to start a lot of that marketing well in advance of the launch. In all honesty, I did not start it early enough. So some of the things you want to think about is paid ads. Maybe that's on Facebook, maybe that's on Instagram, maybe you're going to put physical ads in media outlets. Are you going to contact media outlets for possible interviews? So radio, newspaper, TV, magazines, podcasts. Try and do those in advance, because otherwise, you know, they have schedules, so you need to get that set up. What are you going to do in your social media, and when are you going to do it? What posts are you going to create? You could create them in advance and you could schedule them. The same as all of the things you're going to send out to media outlets. You could pre-prepare that. You could make a media kit that you direct them to with photographs and information and stories. What are you going to send to people? Who are you going to send it to? Have a list, have dates, have the whole thing planned out so that you can make sure that as many people as possible hear about your campaign. People even do things like making flyers or postcards that they drop off around where they live, or maybe they put them on the counter somewhere which is relevant to their product, you know, a shop or something. I was limited on this because of the restrictions due to the pandemic when I ran my Kickstarter, but there are lots and lots of possibilities. Going to events and talking about it. What can you do to get the word out there in a combination of paid things, social media things, in-person things, in order to make sure that the word is out there? You're also going to need to be messaging people, whether that's content creators, whether it's your friends and family. You may want to set up a Facebook group that's specifically for this book, for people who are interested, because people get notified when you post in a group, and so if you're posting about the book, they're going to see it instead of it getting lost in a feed, or they're more likely to see it. Have a think about all the different things that you can do to promote your Kickstarter, what you're going to do before it starts, and like I said, some things need a bit of a lead time, what you're going to do during the campaign, and what if it might need a bit of a boost. Another really big suggestion, find groups of Kickstarter Kickstarter campaign creators, so you can ask for ideas when you get stuck and learn from their experiences. Find groups on Facebook and join those. You can also ask those kind of people to look at your page. When you're happy that everything's right, you've tweaked everything, you've put all your information together, you might have decided to tweak your goal even after you've put, you know what all your rewards are. Once everything is totally perfect and how you want it, you might want to get somebody to look at it and give you an opinion on if there's anything that you've forgotten or you've missed a full stop even. So I would recommend having a look at some groups of other Kickstarter campaigners, and also maybe people within so for me, children's book authors, for their support during the campaign. So that is everything. I will be making a video in the future about things that you need to do during your Kickstarter campaign, but hopefully there's lots to think about there before your campaign even begins. So if anyone has any extra things they'd like to add to this list, please do leave it in the comments. Always great to help each other out. Please hit like if you found this useful, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this one. Take care.